I'm Dr. Bossing, and I'm here to welcome you to English 112. I've got some good news and maybe some less good news. The good news is if you're here in English 112, it means you probably passed English 111 or the equivalent at some other college. And that's great. Congrats, for real. That's a big deal to get through that first semester of college writing coursework. The maybe less good news is you get to do it again in English 112. And I know, man, I'm old, but I remember being a student. And I didn't want to do that, right? Who wants to take a class where you have to write papers and have them get judged? And it's tough, right? I think there are a couple good reasons why every college or university that I've taught at, and Wake Tech is the fifth one I've taught at in my career. Every college and university basically has this format: 2 semesters worth of composition or writing classes. I think one reason for that is because it is a hard thing to do. Man, I was an English major, but I would much rather read a textbook the night before a test and cram for it and then walk in and fill out little bubble sheets and then be done and forget what I just read. That's relatively easy for me. Not easy, blah. But doing this thing, what we do in English 111 and again in 112, is tough. That act of creation is really difficult. And I get it, because it's a process of taking kind of complex information that you've taken in from reading and then thinking about it and coming up with insights or solutions to problems or just strong opinions that are running around in your mind, and then organizing them, focusing them, translating them kind of through your fingers onto the screen or the page in a focused, organized, mostly error-free and clearly written way. That's a pretty complicated thing that I'm asking you to do this semester. And so it's worth more practice. And that's really what this class is in my mind, is a set of practices, an opportunity for you to practice a valuable skill. Because the other reason for English 112 is to set you up for success in your future semesters. Even if you're going to be done with English, and congrats, if this is the last English course you have to take, you're still going to be writing in whatever classes you take. It won't be called like essays, but it might be essay exams you take, lab reports, PowerPoints, even just emails to professors. You'll be writing in almost every class you take. I can promise you that. So it's important to know what the standards for writing in an academic setting for college classes is. Unless your future professors or your future employers and bosses, unless they're mind readers, the only way you can show off your brilliant insights and your creativity and your problem-solving skills is through your use of language. So that's what we'll be practicing this semester. And I think it's worth it. I think it's worth your time and effort. I really do. This is not a content-focused class, right? I don't have mathematical equations or computer codes or things that I have in my mind that I have to get into your brains, right? In a kind of one-directional flow of information. That's for other classes. This is much more a skills-centered, a skills-focused course where you're building up the skills of doing this complicated thing we call writing. So much of the semester will be practicing those skills. And if you think about it, it's no different than other things you've probably done in your life, right? If you play soccer or play a musical instrument or perform on stage in any way or do yoga, all of those things are based on practice, on the ritual and repetition of certain actions, so you get better at whatever that is. Better at dribbling the basketball, dribbling the soccer ball, shooting the basketball, playing that guitar, performing, doing your yoga practices, all of that stuff. All the stuff that's difficult to do but worth doing requires practice and feedback. So if this class is nothing for you other than that, I've got to write a couple big papers. I got to get some feedback from the professor on what's working and what's not working so great yet. If that's all the class is, that's great. That's valuable, a valuable experience for you. I really believe that. Here's what I think my role is. One is just as your professor, right? To kind of lead you through, guide you week by week through the process of building these academic papers. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. Over that time, I've gained some insights that I want to pass on to you. Take it or leave it. I hope you take it. I also see myself in the role of kind of a coach, right? Like to encourage you to show up. Maybe not face to face for most of you, but to show up 2, 3, 4 times a week online, to set up a practice for success, to set up a ritual for yourself, to show up, get your work in, get stuff turned in before the deadlines. And I can help you with that, to stay on track with that, and to answer any questions you have throughout the semester. And it's also just to kind of be your ally, right? The idea for any academic discipline is that there's this discussion going on, right? That's been going on, whether it's psychology or computer science or business or nursing, whatever. That there are people who are knowledgeable and they have this kind of ongoing conversation, passing along of ideas back and forth and challenging them and rejecting some and accepting others. We're jumping into those kind of academic conversations, and I want to help you with that and kind of be your ally in that, in how you can contribute to the conversation. And I also see myself as being honest with you at all times. Sometimes I'll tell you something you don't want to hear, right? Sometimes the truth doesn't feel so great. Like if you get your first paper back and it's got a grade that you're not used to seeing. That's tough. I don't like doing it, and you grading that, and you don't like getting that grade back and the feedback from me. I get that. But that's my job. I'm not going to lie to you ever about that. It's too important. I'll give you feedback, and if what the work that you're turning in is great, I'll let you know that too, right? That's also part of my job, to praise the work you do, and when it's praiseworthy, and I think it will be. But also to let you know where maybe your writing isn't living up to the academic standards of college work. And more importantly, to give you some suggestions on how to up your game if it needs to be upped. So that's kind of how I see my role and your role for these next 4 months. English 112, I've got several sections. They're online. I've got one section that's a hybrid, which means I will be seeing you, some of y'all, face to face, which I'm really happy about because I'm old school. I miss being in actual classrooms. So I'll see some of you every other week, right? The hybrid section, I'll meet half the class one week and then the other half the following week, because we can't have that many people together in a classroom. COVID. But all of the work and pretty much all the material will be online. And the way I have it set up, whether it's online or a hybrid section, is that there'll be weekly folders that you'll open up, and there'll be lessons and links to videos and places to turn in your work when you do it. And I have it set up as an asynchronous format. We'll go week by week, right? Each weekend a new folder for the next week opens up with all the instructions and all the places to turn in your work. But we won't be meeting, unless you're in the hybrid section, we won't be meeting at a specific time, 2 or 3 times a week via Teams. And I set it up like that because I think the one great advantage of online instruction is its flexibility, that you can get your work done and work through those weekly folders on your own time in your own best place to do your work. You don't have to set up anything to show up and have your camera on and all that jazz. To me, that's the great advantage of online, is to have it asynchronous, because it gives you the flexibility to work around your work schedule and family schedule and other classes' schedules. But it also is a real challenge because it means we don't have those set opportunities for communication, which means we have to be real cognizant, really aware of having one-on-one communication when you need it. I've got office hours set up Monday through Thursday every afternoon that we can meet on Teams and talk one-on-one. You can send me an email or shoot me a text through Teams anytime, and I can get back to you. And if we need to set up a time to meet, we can. I spent all of last semester responding to, I was going to say hundreds, it was probably more like thousands of emails and text and setting up times to meet. So we don't get to see each other in a group, and for most of us, and that I wish that were not the case. I wish I was seeing you 2 or 3 times a week in a group, because I think that there is something that can happen in the classroom that adds to the experience of English 112. Even if it's just discussing an essay that we read for the week and getting ideas that maybe we wouldn't have thought about except that we were in a group. But the advantage is we can have one-on-one communication as much as we want to, every day, if that's what you want to do. And I'm up for that. I think it's important that we have a relationship. If you want it. If you don't need it, I ain't going to push it on you. But if you have any questions or any moment of confusion, just reach out. There's no dumb questions in a class like this, right? The only dumb thing to do is have a question and not reach out for clarification or answers. So but again, that's kind of like, because of an asynchronous format, it's kind of on you. I can't read your mind. I'll reach out if there's a radio silence for too long. I'll reach out to make sure you're still doing what you need to do to stay in the class. But otherwise, it's kind of on you to reach out to me. And I hope you do. I literally have hours every week in the afternoon set aside to talk to you. So take me up on it. There's a couple texts for the class. The one we're using most is this one. They say, I say, across the disciplines. We'll be using this right away and throughout the semester. So if you only got enough cash for one textbook, this is the one to get. The other one, actually, you probably already have if you took 111 recently, and it's this one, the Rules for Writers. If you have an older edition of this, a used edition, that's okay, because we're not using the code, the kind of computer code to do the online part of the book. We're just using this more as a reference, both for MLA format issues and APA format issues. So if you've got this one that has the updated APA information, that's great. If you don't have this version, that's okay too, because I'll add stuff into Blackboard to cover you. So it's time to get to work. There's a couple things I'm asking y'all to do in this week 1 folder down below. So do that. If you've got any questions about how to turn stuff in, or like my instructions just make no damn sense to you, shoot me an email, shoot me a text via Teams, let me know what's going on, and I'll get right back to you. Look, we got about 4 months to do quite a bit of work, but it's doable and it's important in my mind, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. So, work hard, be kind, especially to yourself in this first couple weeks of the semester, and I'll see you back here soon. Good luck. Take care.